My name is Masi. I play bass. I'm a jazz musician, and I come from Montreal. What shaped my learning as a young jazz player? Definitely once I was at the college level, I was learning electric bass with a bassist by the name of Peter Kizelenko, but then I started playing double bass, and Dave Watts was very instrumental to me in understanding this music. And then by the time I went into my university degree, I was learning from Fraser Hollins and great faculty at McGill with professors like Andre White, Kevin Dean, Joe Sullivan. Greg Clayton was someone that actually gave me my first great opportunities playing on the scene. So I was learning from Greg Clayton and learning the songbook repertoire. Also composition class with Kevin Dean, certainly. But with Jan Jarczyk, some of these compositions that are as part of this first project are coming from initial explorations at that point, and then in subsequent years furthering that exploration in the composition. And this project has two different bands featured, one that was recorded in 2016 and one that was recorded in 2023. All of compositions that were composed during that initial period. My first heroes of the bass, for the double bass anyways, was starting with Paul Chambers and then Ray Brown. So very strong beat kind of bass players, driving with strong bass lines, very melodic soloists, until I started exploring different kinds of music like Wayne Shorter and John Coltrane's famous quartet of the 1960s, which featured Jimmy Garrison, and then learning from bass players that likely informed the bass playing of someone like Jimmy Garrison, like Wilbur Ware, who played with Sonny Rollins, and also bass players that Wilbur Ware came from, like Israel Crosby. So this started to create some nuance into my conception of the bass playing, and then with the compositions coming from persons like Wayne Shorter and John Coltrane, all with the same energy of Bud Powell and the improvisation and Miles Davis quintet. The name of the album is called A Moment of Introspection, and the reason why I came up with this title for one of the compositions, which eventually became the title track, was because I'm someone that's greatly influenced by philosophical thought and mainly Eastern wisdom traditions. I'm someone that greatly is inspired by classical yoga, for instance. Sonny Rollins would go on these sabbaticals, one of which he went to India and he studied yoga under a yogi. John Coltrane went to India and was inspired by this kind of modal music. So Trudge was the first composition I was working on, and it's the first track on the album. So the idea was like, this procrastination is seemingly a persistent factor. So we're sort of trying to get something to start moving, and it takes some effort. So Trudge is about that. It's sort of a march to begin with, and then it eventually gets into this rolling swing, and then it ends with a return to the idea of the march, but it's of a different spirit. It's a bit more dignified. So Under the Gun, Over the Sun is a composition that's meant to signify a certain duality that I felt at the time, and still at times struggle with. In the circumstance where one is holding certain responsibilities and feeling under pressure, but also seemingly feeling good about it, confident, under control. So the title is evoking that, and the composition is a very angst piece that builds on this idea and has certain momentum with the harmony at certain other points, but otherwise it's a very rhythmic piece that builds on this idea of the certain angst. Train Vibe, of course, is dedicated to John Coltrane. It's a rolling 3/4 jazz swinging waltz, and it has this modal vibe, somewhat of a minor blues, but it's this rolling 3/4 modal, minor modal vibe, and that's what it's trying to evoke. That great quartet that John Coltrane had with Elvin Jones on the drums, and McCoy Tyner and Jimmy Garrison. We're rolling. Is that it? Jeez.